Yo guys, this is Saivo and today we're gonna do a Stormtalon lair. I'm going to make for you guys a basically a action guide. Like I'm doing the dungeon and I'm also telling you guys things that you need to know in the dungeon. If you're a new player coming to Wildstar in free to play, or if you're an old player that has had a break or something similar, then you can definitely get some tips and advice from this guide. Now we're gonna be doing this dungeon 4-man. We're also not gonna have a healer during this dungeon, so yeah, hopefully everything is gonna be fine. We're just gonna vote to kick this and we're gonna get it started. First of all, after you go a little bit ahead here, you're gonna have a cutscene. um, the cutscene you can skip by pressing escape like I did now and go ahead as a tank and just aggro all of these mobs. They are regular mobs, they are not elite mobs, so don't worry. They do have a high damage output if you stack them all together and basically just face tank them without interrupting them or without CCing them. So that's gonna be yeah, a hard hit. Now, as for packs of mobs, this first pack of mobs, uh, what happens here? Too late to tell you, but I'm gonna tell you in the next pack. This guy here, himself, the Storm Watcher with 2 birds, basically what he does is cast all sorts of telegraphs in front of him, facing the person that's tanking. So if you're a tank, it's highly recommended to tank the mobs facing away from the group, and if you're a DPS, please don't stay behind the tank. I need a little bit more survivability since we're without a healer, so I'm just gonna take myself this skill. Now, next pack of mobs, I can finally tell you guys what these guys do. Same as the first pack, the Sentinel and the Shaman. The Shaman is now healing the Sentinel, as you can see, casting Rejuvenate, which was just interrupted. The Sentinel casts also a Frontal Telegraph, like this one. You can interrupt it by simply using one interrupt armor. Now, the most dangerous mob in the dungeon is this guy right here, the Stormweaver. So what this guy does, he applies a dot to everyone in the party like you see. It is not good to stay far away from the healer. We don't have a healer in this case, but if you have one, don't stay really far away from him because you actually need to be healed. Now, objectives of the dungeon. Let's not go very much ahead before I explain those to you guys. Here, next to your quest bar, you will have objectives of the current dungeon. We have gather tainted stem samples, eliminate Thundercold Pale, which is basically just killing mobs, hijack power from the Thundercold Storm Totems, which are these flag looking things right here. This one is already taken, that's why you cannot interact with it. And we also have Deathless in the dungeon. Every dungeon has Deathless in the dungeon. Basically, if you die, then you lose this challenge. The more challenges you do, the more chances for you to get better loot. Not better as in item-wise better, but more of it. And of course, if you get a gold reward at the end of the dungeon, which implies you did every single one of the achievements of the tasks, then you will be rewarded with other cool things as well, which I'm gonna let you guys find out what they are. Now, let's quickly take this Settler buff, which is a campfire that increases my HP by 5%. It doesn't work in PvP, it works in PvE though, and we're gonna engage the first boss. Before we do so, I'm gonna tell you this boss has 3 things that you need to pay attention to. Number 1, he will do a cross-shaped telegraph, which is very wide, and you have some spaces in between the cross to be safe, and that can be interrupted. The boss, as you can see, has 2 interrupt armors, which means you need 3 interrupt armor skills to actually stop the cast. When I play with them, my friends, then what we do is I interrupt the first cast, our other warrior interrupts the second, and the other 2 DPS interrupts the third cast. Now, at the beginning, he's only going to do 2, because you're probably going to get him to around 60% or 70%, and then he's going to go in the next phase. The next phase, I'm going to explain to you the next phase actually while we're doing it. So let's quickly go ahead and start. The first cast, I am not going to interrupt it so you guys can see it, and my guildies will avoid it. This is how it looks. So it's pretty straightforward, easy to avoid also. The second cast is gonna be interrupted, so you guys can see how that looks as well. Uh, Boss gets into a moment of opportunity. His bar turns purple, and you have the duration of the moment of opportunity. It takes double the damage during every moment of opportunity. Now he knocked our weapons away, and we're gathering here next to this ad that doesn't do anything to you, but you get red telegraphs under your feet, random people in the party. What needs to be done is we need to put these telegraphs under these mobs so we can take their shield off, the yellow part of their HP. Also, it's one of the challenges that you need to finish if you would like to get a gold run at the end. Other than that, it's pretty basic. Tank and spank while avoiding these other red telegraphs with a blue ball in them because they knock you. I'm gonna show you exactly how one of them looks. Actually, it's kind of tricky to show you because if I get one of the other telegraphs, I need to be with it under the mob. But I can show you guys now. Look, you need to play the game. You need to press, in my case, the A button, and now you have to take your weapon back and continue. Our other warrior did the first, so I'm gonna do the second, because we kind of swapped places since I was talking to you guys about the challenges, and now the boss is dead before needing to do the third. In your case, if you do it with dungeon gear, which is really easy to get, you will have a bit of a harder time getting him down, but it's very doable as long as you pay attention to the mechanics and you have some interrupt order set. It's really important just not to waste all of your interrupts on the first cast, and then the second one you kind of take it in your face or have to stop DPS to avoid it. Now, moving forward, again the same pack of mobs, a shaman and a sentinel. Same thing, the sentinel is going to do a frontal AoE, the shaman is going to heal the sentinel, like they both do now. We got lucky there, and we got two moments of opportunity on both mobs at the same time by just using one set of interrupts. So that was pretty lucky. We got to do 50% more damage on each. Next pack of mobs, again a storm watcher with two of his birds. He does telegraphs directed towards the guy that's tanking, in this case me, like you see here, and you can easily interrupt it. He has one interrupt armor. That means you're gonna need two interrupt armors to actually stop the cast. I'm gonna go ahead and pull again a storm watcher and his birds, and we're gonna be killing those as well. It's very important to time your pulls right if you're a tank, because there is a patrol. That guy right there patrols and he's pretty nasty. As a DPS, of course, you have to always watch your threat. There are some add-ons for threat meters and sorts. So you can have an add-on to watch your threat, or you can just pay attention to who the mob is targeting. Now, this guy right here, he does two things. One stripe on the ground that persists, aimed towards the guy that's tanking, like he did just now. And the other one is a circle on the ground, which you can interrupt, like I did just now. He has two interrupt armors, and you will need 3 interrupt armor skills to stop the cast. These stripes hurt really bad. As a tank, you will take the initial damage from them. As a DPS, you can definitely avoid it by dashing, and as a tank as well. If he does the stripe towards you, you just dash left or right, and you're out of the stripe. The faster you are dashing, the better it is. Again, a Stormweaver. As I said, the hardest mob in the dungeon. Now, as you can see, he just put the dot on us, and the dot hits hard, plus the mob hits hard as well. You can see my HP also is very low just after fighting one simple mob. Since we have a couple of achievements, of goals for this dungeon, we would like to do them, so we're just looking around and doing them as we go. One of our party members is actually upstairs here. I can actually show you guys.
I cannot take it solo.
upstairs here, if you want to take this totem, so if you have this achievement, this goal, you have to actually come and clear these mobs. We will quickly clear them. We will also start interrupting from now on, because you guys have seen the telegraphs, so from now on we can just continue our normal interrupt rotation. This is a funny one. After we clear these mobs, we will go take this pillar, which can be interacted with, as you guys can see. After I interact with it, or one of my friends here, then it's gonna disappear. This is the first resurrection point. It automatically activates itself, so you don't need to click anything. So if you die in between this place and the last boss, then you will automatically be spawned here, so you don't have to walk as much back. Now, one more pack of mobs and another individual mob, and we're gonna be at the second boss. Second boss is really fun. The shaman is healing. I kicked him, so he's interrupted. Moment of opportunity. Look the difference between how much damage the shaman took and how much damage the sentinel took. Given that the sentinel takes a bit less damage due to armor than the shaman, the moment of opportunity helped us kill the shaman while the sentinel was still half HP, and all of the DPSs were cleaving through both of the mobs. So you can understand moments of opportunity, guys, really important in the game. So interrupt, and don't just interrupt randomly, interrupt when they are casting, so you can actually get this purple look over the bosses or the mobs user interface. Another quest for the dungeon is to just interact with these plants and gather stem samples. There are some over here, and one more totem, which we will take before the boss fight, is right here. Now, right before we start, I would like to tell you that this boss does three things. Number one, an AoE under each person on the ground, which, in case you're stacked up, it's all gonna be in the same place, so really easy to avoid. Number two, it's gonna be a phase in which the boss pushes you back, all of you, to the door here, and then these tornadoes are gonna start moving and you know, just going one into another, and it's gonna be pretty hectic. You need, as a party, to avoid taking any of these tornadoes in order to have this specific challenge, tornado chasing, complete. As I said, if you want a gold level reward, you will want to do this and get used to the tornadoes patterns and paths, so you can actually manage to slip through everything and get back to the boss. I'm going to show you guys how it's done, no worries. I'm going to engage the boss, and I'm going to tell you about the third mechanic as we go. So the first mechanic should come right away. It's going to be an AoE under each of us, a circular telegraph. Actually, this time, due to too much DPS, the boss is going to start with the third mechanic, which is spawning these ads. Now, these ads need to be killed in 15 seconds, because it is a boss-specific challenge, this one. Avoiding the tornadoes now. It gets hectic, there are all sorts of telegraphs on the ground. The star-shaped ones push you back or forward, depending which side of them you get. You run to the boss, you interrupt the cast, you have like 30 seconds, so plenty of time. And then the tornadoes stop moving. This is the AoE that comes next. There we go. Everyone got a red circle, so being stacked up works, being not stacked up works as well. Another ad phase, in which we need to kill these ads within 15 seconds. While we kill them, they put telegraphs that follow various members of the group. So you kind of need to place them on the edge of the room. So pay attention to that as well. It makes your life easier. Again, avoiding the tornadoes. I'm trying my best here not to get hit, going left and right, memorizing the pattern of the tornadoes, and at the end, interrupting the boss. He gets knocked down, but as you guys can see in the second phase of tornadoes, they don't actually stop moving, but they just move a bit slower. So now the boss keeps teleporting itself through the room. It gets a bit complicated to avoid tornadoes, get to the boss, DPS him. But yeah, that is over now. So think you guys are gonna be doing that part as well. It takes a little bit of getting used to, I would have to admit that. But other than that, it's pretty straightforward. And as a light wearer, you shouldn't walk into the red star-shaped things. As a heavy wearer, you shouldn't walk there either because they just push you around. And if you get pushed into a tornado, that's already a failed challenge. So you should definitely pay attention to these kinds of mechanics and not ideally it would be not to take anything. If that's not doable, then better take one of those star-shaped telegraphs instead of taking a tornado that fails the challenge. Now, some more mobs were pulled. I think we can manage them even though we have a pretty good amount of mobs and we have various types of mobs, so they're always going to be doing various types of telegraphs. As long as you get used to the game, you have plenty of time from level 1 to 50 to get used to how this game works and you know, what is there to do, how to avoid telegraphs, etc, etc. Complexity matrix, easy. Another pack of mobs, again a shaman, again a sentinel with a frontal AoE like this one, shaman with a heal which didn't even get to go through because it was interrupted right away. If the sentinel is dead, the shaman will heal the next closest mob. If you only have some shaman and sentinel and the sentinel dies, the shaman will actually not heal. We're gonna wait a bit now. Actually, we're not gonna wait a bit now because one of my friends here decided to play the role of a tank. Let's quickly take this boss. This is a mini boss. Basically, he can get interrupted like this. He has 4 interrupt armors, which means you need 5 interrupt armor skills in order to stop the cast. Now he's going to go towards the entrance of the dungeon. That is because, as I said, we are 4-manning this. Our medic is at the beginning, and if one of these mobs wants to actually do a cast on the medic, then he's just gonna start going crazy and go back to the entrance. Here we're gonna wait for this guy to come closer. Roger that, guys. Hello. And
Yes.
when he comes closer, we're gonna let him go even more back actually. And when he's closer to the other guy, we're just going to pull them both. This is a bit of a ninja move. I'm going to actually pull them myself. One kick and then one pull so it can work, and hope to God that we're not gonna die because they are these 2 hardest mobs in the game, so maximum DPS is recommended. Don't do this, guys, if you are starting out with the game. It's not a good idea to do it because look, I used all of my cooldowns and I almost died. One at a time, guys, especially the Stormweavers. Our last pack of mobs, Shaman and Sentinel, basically same deal. Sentinel frontal AoE, Shaman healing the Sentinel. Pretty straightforward. We're getting close to the last boss, guys, so the last boss is the most fun, I would say. And we have a last totem here. As you can see, we have gathered 7 out of 8. With this one, objective done. We're good to go. On the top here, you can see your total score and the time that has passed in your dungeon, so you can keep track of how fast you are this time, how fast you are next time, etc, etc. For the last boss, when everyone is inside, we are going to get a cutscene. This guy here is going to summon the Stormtalon, which is a dragon looking thing. He is the hardest boss in the dungeon, of course. Now, let's quickly kick our medic. Actually, there is still loot being rolled on, so let's quickly wait for, let's see what loot is being rolled on. It's just these 2 pieces. It's gonna go away in about 20 seconds, and we can kick our medic so we can actually summon the Stormtalon and start the fight. Other than that, in this dungeon, guys, any composition would work, I would say, as in tanking, healing, DPS wise. If you're doing this, as I said, with some pieces of blue gear, you can go for the crafted blue gear. You can actually go for the crafted dungeon gear, which is purple, and it's really good gear to get started. So when you come to the game, if you're a free-to-play player, check the broker, the auction house. You're gonna find probably people crafting purple pieces of dungeon gear, level 80, the item level, and you can just cap that and start doing dungeons and just have fun, be a bit stronger. Any composition works, any healer works. It's a bit harder, it's more harder for medic healer as it is everywhere then again. But other than that, I think you're gonna be good to go. If you play with 5 friends, split your interrupts amongst friends, and yeah, split the roles. Let's quickly see if we can now kick. Yes, we can. Let's accept that. Guys, let's accept the vote to kick, okay? Guys?
Yeah.
I did. We did.
Did you accept it as well, Tom?
No, I don't have that messy.
You don't have that. Okay, no worries. There we go. Now the cutscene starts as I was saying, and I'm just gonna go ahead and aggro the boss. It's gonna be a pretty tough fight without a healer, but I think we can make it. One of our guildies here, Mark, is going to be healing just a little bit. Boss has a frontal cleave. Don't stand where the tank is standing. Boss does this pushback. Play the mini game, press the key, go back to the boss, interrupt it. Very simple and straightforward so far. Other than that, other mechanics, this one, very important to avoid, and these kinds of circles as well. They slow you down and they do lots of damage to you. The boss's cleave also slows you down. So you have to kind of pay attention to where you are as a tank. As a DPS, it's really important to stay out of red. You can see here the other mechanic of the boss, which is placing a safe zone under one of the DPSs, and that DPS is basically gonna move with the safe zone while having his keys reversed. It is really important to have a CC break if you're a beginner. If you're not a beginner, then don't use a CC break and just find the right key, just move through it. As a tank, I'm just gonna stand and take things to my face now. You can also do that if you're a warrior tank, even if you have dungeon gear. If you pop your innate and the defense grid at the same time, you can easily take all of those circles with a decent healer in your face. At the end of the dungeon run, we're on the beta client, guys, so remember that. You have a lockbox here, which the party leader can open. At the moment, this is how it works. It's the party leader and then the guy next to him in line, and next and next and next. So if, for example, my guildie, Almaria, would like to open the chest, actually Almaria can open it also. Let's go, let's open it. Oh, there we go. So far it didn't work for us. But now it does. So after he opened it, I can open it also if I would have one of these keys. Get an extra piece of dungeon loot like these Mega Ohm Spolders, for example, and also a decor item for your house. That was about it. For the last boss, I would say it again. You can bring a CC break in order to remove the keys being reversed. So you can actually walk with that safe zone nicely around the boss. Do not dash with the safe zone, because then you're going to just move the safe zone all around and you're going to confuse everyone around you. You always have to keep walking. And other than that, basic tanking, stay out of red. And yeah, that was about it. I wish you guys lots of fun and lots of love as well. Bye.